The Home Secretary Suella Braverman has announced her new powers to force the police to actually police the country, and some people on the political left are being triggered by the announcement. Okay, good news and bad news. Good news is that Suella Braverman, as Home Sec, is one of the few politicians we've had over the last few years who, when she just gives the right message and the right rhetoric, talks a good game, she actually then follows it up by action. That's good. Bad news is that some people in her own department and the police force are ignoring her. They're not following her orders, her policies that we elected her to do. So you got the department, the home office, certain civil servants being obstacles. We already reported on this channel a few days ago that the College of Policing and some police officers are refusing to follow her policies when it comes to being more robust with protesters and everything else, and being less politically correct and less rainbowy and everything else, less woke. But that's the bad news. The good news is that she's using more new powers to tackle these issues. But again, will they listen? I think at this point, they need to go and drain the swamp of the establishment. Find out the names of any senior leadership and even mid-tier when it comes to the police or the Home Office. Anybody who's refusing to do what the policy says, just sack them or do something with them. Move them around. Let's go to Suella.
I want common sense policing. That means responding to the priorities that the British people have, responding to antisocial behaviour, responding to violence and burglary. It means not getting embroiled in disputes about gender on social media. I want the police to be courageous when it comes to using stop and search powers.
Yes.
I want the police to take action on grooming gangs and not hold back from stopping and securing justice for the victims of grooming gangs. And
this is actually the biggest point, because we're still waiting for the police to actually step up their game when it comes to the grooming scandal. But it's quite difficult when the police historically have actually been involved, some of them, complacency and complicity when it comes to the grooming scandal.
Child sexual exploitation because of fears about political correctness.
And you think they have held back?
As I've said, when it comes to grooming gangs in towns like Rochdale or Rotherham, we've seen, and independent reports have confirmed as much, that there was a failure to act by social workers, by councils, by the police, because they were fearful of being called racist or inflaming community tensions or political correctness.
It doesn't really help that you have people on the other side of the political spectrum, some Labour MPs, who proactively said, they actually told the victims of the grooming scandal to shut up because, for the sake of diversity. So when you have politicians, bad politicians, encouraging bad behavior and bad culture, you can't really blame then even some good police officers who would want to speak out. They feel powerless. Now that's the problem. I think at this point, what I would do personally is, obviously, as I said earlier, creating a list of anybody who's at best being complacent or trying to do some sort of cover-up in the name of diversity or political correctness, let alone the ones who are actually criminals and complicit. That's different. Sort them out. But the other thing you should do is probably find a way, a mechanism to empower those who actually want to speak out. It's not necessarily the same as whistleblowing, but it's a version of whistleblowing. Give more powers to those good police officers who want to get the job done without the fear of getting punishment from the senior leadership of the police or civil servants in the Home Office or anybody else for that matter. Because you also have civil servants who want to just get on with the job. It's just a job for them. They care about public service. But again, the whole thing with the other bad civil servants and those who are either lazy or have their own political agenda, that clouds the judgment of the whole department, and it undermines those who actually, the few who actually want to do a good job. So you have to make sure you praise and you incentivize good behavior and good people who want to get involved with the police or the Home Office, and completely get rid of the bad ones. I think the issue we have is that politics and our so-called democracy is all about short-termism and short-term action. So imagine if you're Suella and you come up with even this idea that I said. You take it to the cabinet office, the cabinet meetings, and the Prime Minister, the Chancellor, and the rest of the senior members of the cabinet would say, well, we have the election coming up. Let's focus on other things. We'll come back to that in a couple of years' time. every single time. Just kick the can that they're down the road. And that's what's happening with everything, by the way. Whether it's the housing situation, whether it's the taxation, whether it's small businesses, but from national policies to local policies, everything is about short-termism. Nothing gets done. Even if you have a couple of good politicians, they can't get anything done. You need someone as a leader to lead the country and lead the system in regards to deep reforms and a shake-up. But will the actual so-called deep state and the establishment in Whitehall allow that to happen? The one person that, she wasn't even perfect, but she had the right ideas, Liz Truss, tried to do something. She dipped her toe in the water. They completely destroyed her. She was gone within 10 minutes. Now, you could also blame her in regards to management not being able to see it coming, but it was a pylon. It was a complete witch hunt. They completely got rid of her before she even started her job. Is that even fair? The members of the Tory party voted for her. They got rid of her. They replaced her with someone that they didn't even vote for. And it's just, that's not really how we should do things in this country. But it is what it is. So, I think this is all the updates for you guys today. But I think later on, if any of the breaking news story happens, I'll come back to you guys. We're still in Cyprus for the next couple of days. So I'll continue to give you all the news stories throughout each day as usual. Even if we take a break, we'll continue to work in order to challenge the mainstream media and the political establishment. Thank you so much for all the support. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.